Well, changing pace now, an ASX-listed company, K2 Fly, is dominating the Australian mining tech market with multiple acquisitions lately and also rapid growth. Nic Pollock joins me now for more on this. Nic, great to see you.
Hi, Holly. Nice to join you.
Talk to us about K2 Fly and the work that you guys do.
Well, we're a software company listed on the ASX. We've been listed since November 2016. Our primary focus is software as a service, focused mainly at this point in time on the mining industry, and we deliver environmental, social and governance software solutions along with technical assurance, as I said, predominantly to the mining industry, but not just in Australia, globally.
Yeah, great. So when we talk about these acquisitions that you've had lately, can you just tell us about that?
Yeah, we've done 4 acquisitions in the last 4 years, so we're increasing that at an increasing pace. The last 2 we've done in the last 9 months. And as a business, we pride ourselves as a core competence of being able to identify spaces within particularly the asset-intensive market and mining in particular that we don't feel are adequately served by software solutions. And we're talking enterprise software solutions here. That's part of our competence, is identifying that. So then we decide, do we buy a company? Do we build something as an engineering business, or do we partner to deliver that? We go through that process. And then we come with an output. So obviously in recent times we've done 4 of those. And I think, when you look at the results of those, we generally take smaller software businesses that don't have the access to the tier 1 customer base that we have globally, which is, blue chip, and apply a sort of global sales and partnership delivery mechanism to it to enable to raise the value of that. I can give you some really good examples if you like.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, we bought a company called Infoscope, which was sort of a pioneer in the cultural heritage space. And here we are today, and we're working extensively with Indigenous corporations and traditional owner groups across the spectrum, across Australia. But we also work with FMG and more recently with Rio Tinto after the Juukan Caves disaster as well. So we're working with both sides of that. We recognise that environmental, social was a really key thing that was going to affect the industry. After that, we bought R-Cubed, which was in and around the governance, in and around how you report your mineral inventory, so your inventory to the stock market on your annual report. Shortly after we acquired that business, the New York Stock Exchange changed its regulations in order that a lot of organisations in the US needed to turn to us in order to provide them with the only software solution that did that. Last year we bought Sativa, which is a local company here, which we really liked because it had adjacent technology offerings to what we're doing in the governance space. But as importantly, they were really close to the big iron ore players in West Australia in particular, Rio Tinto, Roy Hill and Fortescue, and at a time when the iron ore price is going through the roof, as we all know, very exciting times. And then we just acquired Decipher in the Tailings solution space from Wesfarmers. And again, globally, lots of big mining companies are signing up to a global standard that we're supporting through that solution, which is pretty much the only end-to-end solution in the market.
Yeah, incredible. Wow, what an achievement that you've just listed off there. How are you guys focusing on gaining global attention?
I guess the simple answer is 2 things. In using old vernacular, we're selling shovels to miners. So a more modern way of putting that is obviously we sell enterprise software to mining companies globally. But also our focus on environmental, social and governance and ESG issues is clearly very, very top of mind for all businesses, not simply mining companies, but obviously mining companies are very much in a focal point for those discussions and are coming under increasing scrutiny across the board from their shareholders, the communities in which they operate, and broader stakeholders, but particularly their financiers as well, are driving a lot of this change. So those issues are global, as we all know. They're not limited to Australia, and very, very pertinent at the bigger end of town in these big mining companies that have this risk all over the world if they have multiple sites that they need to manage.
Yeah, definitely. I really love those points that you've made there. How would you guys say that you guys stand out from the rest in the technology that you guys use and the data that you use? And also, how are you planning on having another successful few years like you've just had?
Okay, I'll start with the last part. So, I mean, At the beginning in FY21, we had probably 2 solutions in the market. We now have, at the beginning of FY22, we have 9, and growing.
Wow.
So we went through the COVID sort of lag, if you like. The first half of 21 was pretty flat for us, to be honest. We were really busy during lockdown, flat out signing contracts, but we experienced the COVID lag, particularly in the Americas, which is not surprising, but we bounced back really strongly in the second half to still end up with a 38% growth overall. But on our key metrics like recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue, which is our software licensing, that's up by 50%. Our total contract value is sitting at $10 million now. That's at 48% growth. So the second half of the year has given us a lot of momentum. And I like to say we're kicking goals from all sides of the ground, to use a footy analogy. With all of the things we bought in that second half, we've sold bits from all of that. Probably as interesting is the fact that recent times we did a capital raise. We brought 3 new institutional investors on board for a little over $7 million. And the idea of that capital from them was to grow our business, globally, to obviously invest in typical things like sales, marketing, development, operations, but very much also to keep acquiring businesses and go from there.
Yeah, wonderful. Congratulations, Nic. It sounds great, and you should be really proud of what you guys have achieved so far. We wish you all the best. Thanks so much for coming on to Ticker. It's been great to speak with you.
Thanks, Holly. Really appreciate the time.